here we go. Game number 2 of the grand finals of Age of Mythology, the Titans Clan League Season 25 is about to begin. Ra, Zeus, Ra against Ra, Oranos, Kronos. Quite a lot different teams. Quite a lot different teams. Absolutely no idea what to expect here. Alright, so the first we have a look at is right now yellow on this kind of yellowish map. And it's 9 Racing Cat who is right now playing a pocket here, but it's kind of a weird pocket, but usually you'd get that spawn on Oasis where you see that one of your allies is so far away from you, and this time it's Kirudai who is like in the hole here and will be having a bit of a hard time, especially considering that he's Ra. He's probably going to need some extra help with defending against Iron Maiden who is also Ra, so maybe not. Maybe they just go standard 2TC Ra, boom, faster heroic, and maybe that could be just enough. So extra zebras at the forefront, well, extra the normal ones, and otherwise he has just sent oracles in all the two ways so far, and third one seems to be going north as well, so he's not interested in scouting between him and Kiruda, which is slightly curious at this point, I would say, but he is probably thinking that he will take care of that with those goats at the back. Otherwise he doesn't see any extra hunt yet, which is a problem for him, and he still has quite a lot of time with the 4 zebras and quite a lot of time to hope that everything goes well for him. Askil has also sent oracles right now in all 3 directions that he could have. In the forefront he has discovered one extra relic, which is Pegasus Scouts. That's not really all that bad, because it can give you quite a lot of line of sight where you need, especially in the later games, for potentially the Titans or whatnot. And well, since he can't really buy them in his temple, as he's not a Greek, why not? It could help. Askil is right now discovering that there are some extra monkeys at the back, which is not the greatest source of food, obviously, having just 100, but it's way better than nothing. And these giraffes, this is what he was looking for, and that's where he will be heading quite soon, and just maybe even 9 Racing Cat, because he still isn't trying to look at the back, which is really curious, and I'm slightly getting worried at this point that they might just food starve themselves at the very beginning. Let's see if that will happen with the Atis, and on the right side, Kirudai is the one who is all alone right now, still gathering from the zebras, and we see some extra hunt, yet again, the monkeys, and here, and he has to be slightly careful about his gold, because there's probably going to be a lot of it in the middle, but with the way this Oasis is spawned as a foursome, it will be kind of harder to wall, and he will need to be super careful not to let any chariot archers from his opponents into his base. Iron Maiden has already captured one of the relics, which is 2 lions. Not too great, but it can help in the early raiding against some Atis, which is definitely what is happening here quite obviously. And otherwise, zebras, some hunt in the forefront, just some lions and a bit of berries, and that's pretty much it. And the giraffes here, but they are not really his because they are behind the tree line, and they seem to be much more Kiludai's. Well, I'm not exactly sure if he knows about them, but I would think so at this point. Some relic at the back of the bases here of AoLs, which is between about Toxod chariots and whatnot it points, which is actually pretty great for AoLs because they have RAS and they will be raiding with chariots quite a lot, and this is really going to help them. I really have to return to this relic because it could be very important in raiding here. So let's remember this relic. The pocket for AoLs is Recon, which is Zeus, which I think is also a pretty useful part of the game here, because this is going to help them use some faster mythic or whatnot, and this is kind of curious placement of the goats. You do want to spread them out around the TC, but at like 2 million miles, not really sure about that, but he is probably going to move them slightly closer when the time comes for them. So far, he is just now making sure that he is ready for when it comes. AoL Recon is having his temple ready, and since he's switched off the villagers, he will be advancing into Classical Age, so let's just stay with him for a bit longer. On the TC, it's going to be Hermes, which I kinda guess there's really no point in getting restoration at this map. And well, AoL Berserker on the left playing the Ra. Yeah, Hermes here, we can switch off. is already moving into Ptah and probably is going to result in some shifting plans as well. So let's see how that will work out. And oh, I was almost thinking that it's going to be some Will Ride, but he was just positioning his really slightly better so that they don't have to walk with the gold here, which is a very nice play and very helpful in the long run. He is also very heavily trying to wall himself because he knows that he's under close scrutiny by both 9 Racing Cat and Askill. You can see all the guys here all along. And well, right now that was a pretty good deconstruction. And Berserker will have to seriously hurry up, but I think he will manage. It was, yeah, very nice idea from the lads, but it's not going to pay off because they are going to be just in time. Yeah, 6%. So he just made it out, and just a slight problem with the timing of all the gold, but otherwise went all nice and dandy for Berserker. He's still having a pretty good line of sight literally everywhere, and we can see that 9 Racing Cat is the one that is moving into attack here, because we really know that he really likes this. And Gunter Barracks inside his base, that's just going to be transported into the forefront because he doesn't want to send the Viris there. And unfortunately, he housed himself. Or would house himself. He just forgot, or rather actually was just too fast to click onto the next house. So no, sorry, he didn't house himself. But he is already getting ready quite well. He had transported the Gunter Barracks right now, and well, Askill will be moving all the armies from inside his base. And since he's not walling at all, literally nobody is walling in the middle of the map, which I find highly curious at this point. Especially looking at AoLs having the on the Raz here, so they should protect the early game, but they are completely resigning on that. They are just walling inside their bases, hoping that they can somehow advance into the heroic. It seems like the AoL Berserker is though not going for 2TC fast heroic, because he kinda recognizes he's under attack, and will be forced into classical fight, which is definitely not something he wanted. And this will limit AoLs into just the right Iron Maiden going for potentially second TC and the faster heroic, but he isn't really, so that's just fast heroic from him with armory right now coming up, which is really curious at this point. And only kill you die is the Ra that is going for the double TC faster heroic, so that's that. And let's see what this is going to be. Iron Maiden having, of course, so that's going to be Scarab Rush. Alright, so that's going to be Scarab Rush, and we should be seeing, oh, how is she called? Yeah, we're gonna see soon enough. I don't really remember at this point. And well, still really not much going on the left. Just Askill and 9 Racing Cat keeping Berserker from his second TC, and it seems like he will be just fine for a bit longer. 1800 gold is still very much what he needs and what he can live with for quite some time, but he better be careful because once he's not doing anything himself, he is just, sorry, opening his wave for 9 Racing Cat and Askill onto the pocket of his team, Recon, and he will be having a hard time actually defending, even though he is having good amount of units at this point. He is still gonna be doubled, and well, yeah, that's not going to result into anything nice that he would want. And with a good raid-in, pushing Recon off this hunt, and if they can fight on the hunt on the middle as well, he will be in further trouble. He still does have a lot of goats, and he has moved them a bit closer. He is right now in a pretty very bad spot, and since one rain is gone, second will be pretty soon as well, because Kiryuda is right now casting it, which means he will be in heroic in a matter of moments. Second EC for Askill being built, because he knows that he doesn't really have to hurry somewhere, and will be pretty much safe to go for the Echo here, and I really think that's the correct decision, as nobody from Recon's team is really moving in either direction, and this was supposed to be a Scarab Rush, and Sekhmet is really being researched. So once the Sekhmet hits, that's basically going to be it. And is it going to be strong enough to take down Kiryuda? I think he will realize pretty soon. And since he is right now going for Hathor, the Scarab Rush is going to be way too late, because that's like a trillion miles coming there, and he will be quite fine to prepare for it. He just needs to realize what's coming for him. At this point, I'm pretty sure it will be coming for him. I don't really, or am I sure? Because at this point, really, The left side could be quite open because both Attis are having quite low hit points DCs. So they could be a very good target for them and could potentially work. So Berserker might shift in sense them though. That's actually not a half bad idea. Shift in sense on the Scarabs, that could actually work quite nicely. Just transport them inside the middle of the bases of either 9 Racing Cat or Askill, and that could be pretty threatening. This is basically, I think, what Iron Maiden was trying to fight with the Gold Line, trying to see where everybody is right now, having positioned the goats here. And 9 Racing Cat is finally getting back, and possibly hoping that he can somehow do what? Why is he coming back? He's, I think, fully expecting some nonsense from his opponents, so that's why he went back, and he was probably thinking about the same strategy I was talking about, and Recon's scout is really in a good position to go for that, but not really happening so far. So let's have a look at the battle. Here, Berserker's base, he has just lost his budget, so that's a problem. Berserker going for yet another segment, and okay, is this going to be double Scarab Rush? Could just as well be. It could just as well be because we are having some line of sight through the Iron Maiden Sphinx, which is just very much alive, and I think this is just a question of time. Is he preparing? Yes, he is. So here we have the shift in sense from Berserker, and here we go for the TC. And unfortunately for him, 9 Racing Cat knew absolutely exactly what was going to happen, and he is having 3 hero turmas. So even though the TC is going down, there's no doubt about that, this is going to stop the attack here pretty soon with some proper micro, but the damage will be dealt, and let's see if this is going to be the deciding factor in all that is happening here. I think that Berserker won't be really far behind, as Aski will be probably forced to actually retreat and defend himself, because it doesn't seem like that 9 Racing Cat is really doing all that well, and he's not doing fast enough at all. You can see that those Scarabs are having just a huge amount of hit points, and they are a serious problem, but right now this is gone. DC is down, and it wasn't really all that troublesome because he wasn't researching H, but still it's some extra resources that he definitely didn't want to spend. On the right side, Iron Maiden is right now fighting himself under attack as he is switching into elephants, but Kiriura is going for the standard nonsense that Ras do on this map, and that's raiding with the chariots. Very nice wall in here, and he is basically looking to protect himself as much as he can, which also unfortunately for him means that he is basically giving up the TC, and he has to hope that something will be happening quite soon. Pretty good raiding with the rock here it seems, but pretty much dead, so once he encounters those towers, that's pretty much it. But it seems like that Kiriura is not aiming for an attack, but for the TC and steal it, which is a very good idea and a very bad problem for Iron Maiden, as he doesn't have the army to protect against that. 9 Racing Cat going for a very sneaky build, going with the temple at the back, well out of line of sight of his opponents, and if he is careful, he can stay that way for quite some time longer. On the left, while Berserker is casting his rain, Askill is in a pretty sweet position with 9 Racing Cat being there as well, going for 30 TC. Yeah, he will be having 3 TC pretty soon, the same as 9. And well, Berserker is just now fighting with just 1, which is not really all that cool, and even though there is some extra boost through the rain into the economy, you can see that Askill is having a pretty huge army, and he is a big problem for his opponent, because Ras are very heavy into obviously the chariots, and Durmas are exactly the right unit as the counters to archers. So yeah, that's not really going all that well, is it? But with all these Durmas, this is not really an army that can take down buildings, which means that Berserker is losing some units, but in the end, it doesn't really hurt him all that much, even though he has lost some Chemos, so that is a problem. But until Lats employ some extra siege, that's not really going to matter all that much. Really, just Durmas here. It is a nuisance, but not really game-losing nuisance, and especially when he's switching into cavalry. But the constructed Migdol is a huge problem, because it means that Berserker's gold is no longer safe, and he doesn't have any gold at the back, which means he's basically out of the game, because the base mine is gone, and he literally has nothing else left, so he will need to move with his villagers somewhere else. And if Recon cannot save him somehow with just normal Hippicons, we are at 30 minutes, come on, you might be having mediums at least at this point. And well, Seems like that the double here is pretty strong and Berserker is not able to defend, not even with the help of Recon, even though Recon is having the correct units. And right now, I'm kinda thinking that lads are pretty happy with getting Turmas killed so that they can recuperate with something better. The TC is right now being occupied pretty soon as well, and on the right we see a pretty strong push from Kiryudai, who is at 3 TCs, pretty soon at 4, I'm gonna guess, or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, he should be pretty soon at 4, he's probably building this one, yeah, and there's not going to be any stopping that, and I'm still really curious why nobody is walling in the middle, just this compulsory by Recon, the last skill, or not skill, just looking for the vertical ones, which are so far missing. Iron Maiden though is having a pretty decent army against all those chariots, but not really the Petsukai. So that might be a slight problem, those mythical units, even though finally priests are making an appearance and could do exactly what it needs, Kiryudai, to defend against his opponent. On the left, Recon has been forced yet again back, but still it is resulting into some kind of stalemate, as those Turmas finally weren't enough to put their opponents under sustained pressure, but still TC is being stolen, and will be without any problem. 9 right now advancing into the heroic age, and Berserker trying to put himself back into some kind of gameplay here, with going for TC and finally securing some extra gold, which should last him for quite some time. This one will be pretty much safe for him as well, and the trade route seems to be going quite well. Finally some medium hippicons, so let's check if he's advancing into heroic possibly, or if he's still bound into the classical fight, which he is fully. And otherwise I don't really see all that much different here, and once this TC is up, and 9 Racing Cat right now being in heroic is a pretty big problem, because that will mean that destroyers will come into play and the archive, and well, the TCH and the H advantage will be very nasty. Also, what is curious is that Recon's scout at the back of Yellow's base is gone. There was a Kataskopos near the wall, which is gone, which is a huge deal at this point, because Recon won't be able to use his underworld passage all that easily. He can even get there. Well, I know Citadel got power, which is where? Okay. Berserker defending himself, and this was a pretty decent push from Kiryudai, who is at 4 TCs, and since he is going for the 2 TC Raboom, I think he should be having a substantially better gameplay at this point to compete against his opponent Iron Maiden, who is still at just 2 TCs and not really having upgrades, just an attack looking for Kiryudai, heavy chariots at least. So here we see forced ceasefire. You can see the little lightning was next to this TC, so that was definitely forced because of this attack, as Iron Maiden definitely cannot lose it, because if he did, he would be in a very tough spot. It would be very easy for his opponent Kiryudai to kill him right then, because of the missing population limit and the extra support fire. This bought Recon time to actually arrive at the battlefield, which should mean end to Kiryudai's attempts at this point, and he will be probably switching into Mythic soon. I'm just going to stop here because of these nice Petsukai, Petsukosra upgraded guys. You don't really see them all that often either, but here they are, and they look pretty cool. So I'm just gonna check the TCs for Kiryudai, as we fully expect some kind of Osiris. Alright. Osiris when there is actually a bolt. Okay, so he's going for the other upgrades probably. So that's that, and on the left we see a pretty huge push. Oh well, yeah, these behemoths are very nasty, and even though 3600 hit points is quite a lot, and Pharaoh is here, I don't really think this push is anything that Berserker can stop, especially because Recon is with all his army on the right side, and well, Citadel is cast, but let's see how that will develop, because Kiryudai with some extra mercenaries from his town center is going to be able to hold both of these guys at this spot just by himself. So this is one battle raging on here, and this is going to be slow, and I don't think the TC is going down, so let's switch to the left, where it is much more important, as right now Berserker is fighting quite valiantly 2 TCs versus 7. But well, I'm kinda afraid that's not going to cut it, and when he loses the Citadel, he's going to lose also Osiris, and that's very well in play, but he's doing quite well defending, and the siege is gone through some very nice spell of priests here, pretty good amount of them, and Underworld Passage from Recon is being cast defensively from the left side, and the other one is here, and it seems like, yep, that some defense is kinda okay on the right side, but on the left it's not, and it seems like almost that AoLs might actually be able to defend against this, because there's a whole lot of Turmas here, not really much in melee units, and basically this is all hanging in the balance on the behemoths. They are doing pretty well, but I think slight victory will be even reaching the mythical age, and the bolt is needed. That kinda opens the way to the Son of Osiris from Kirudai at the same time. So DC is still up, still up. Come on, can you get there? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh well, the last percent. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, Berserker, that was absolutely horrible for you, and yes, this is the GG that usually follows that surprisingly unlucky place, and this is pretty much it. And the battle on the right was going very well for Kyliudai as well. And since Askil has changed the venue to help him, that was pretty much the done deal because of the double. And on the left, without the TC, Berserker was pretty much dead. So very nicely played and very nicely controlled by Lutz. And even though it was an interesting plan by AoLs, it didn't really work out, the Scarab Rush. Now let's have a look at the post game here. With Askil being apparently the best in the score, and otherwise it seems like not much interesting going on, just Berserker, but that's kind of understandable. He was under heavy pressure, and it was incredibly well played by Lutz. They definitely thought this through, and that was the correct strategy to choose, and they basically starved him of everything and put the most dangerous player of their opponents out of the game. So, quite well played. Yeah, just now saying that he should have had his eye all the behemoth earlier. Yeah, that should have happened. Yeah, probably would have died anyway, but at least it was kind of fun ending at this point. You can see that none of AoLs were actually in Mythic. All three at very similar times from Lutz, so that's one more point for their team play. I'm pretty well, and in the upgrades, yeah, I can just see the difference in there. Well, 2 Scarabs, that's not really enough when you are going for Scarab Rush here. But it is enough, but you have to support it by something else, which unfortunately wasn't the case here. So we are tied at 1-1, and we will be seeing at least 2 other games. So, pretty interesting. Quite a lot of food for 9 at the end. Wood as well, not much actually. Gold, yeah, just for purple, blue, and whatnot. GG then.